Indeed, hashtag draft season. So much to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and who will be picked possibly at pick 14. That and so much more on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Welcome back to episode 391 of the Purple Rain podcast. Some freaking all-timers on here. The Edgar Jones, the Yannick Ngakoue, CJ Koye, Courtney Upshaw, but most recently, and your newest Baltimore Raven, Trey Hendrickson edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for coming through and spending your Friday Eve with us. We have a whole lot of draft talk to talk about. Ravens talk, Ravens that have moved on, just all ball if it includes the purple and black team in Baltimore. But first off, you can follow us here on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. That guy all the way over there on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10, and that handsome man in the middle, that wealth of knowledge, that freaking just that guy who knows about the draft.
Come on now.
Big Board himself. Yeah. All right, Mr.
Yeah.
It's in my favorites already. I probably pulled up my computer somewhere. Mr. Huddle It Up Films. Find him on Twitter at Huddle It Up Films. The man, the myth, the legend. Jason, how are you doing? How are you doing, Sutton?
What up, Jason?
Happy Friday Eve.
You cracked me up. That was pretty funny. I was like, I was ready. I felt like I was coming out the tunnel there.
Hey, yeah. Yes, sir. You're going to be doing the squirrel dance and everything next. Real soon.
Yeah, I like the Suggs. I like the Suggs best.
The Suggs, okay.
The squat down and come up. Nice and simple.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just make sure, you keep your mouth closed on the sideline, unlike T-Sizzle, right? Famously. Oh, my goodness, man. That was probably my favorite thing about Terrell Suggs, just real quick. You know what I mean? Like, on the sidelines, he would always have his mouth open. He would never have his mouth closed. It's like, that's how you knew he was an animal. Shout out to T-Sizzle, man. Shout out to 55. But, no, this is the Trey Hendrickson episode, Trey Hendrickson edition, the first ever Trey Hendrickson episode of the Purple Rain podcast. We want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming into this episode again, episode 391. Quick, fast, and in a hurry approaching episode 400, which we will be doing a giveaway for, which, by the way, real quick, couple housekeeping things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, as always. But if you want to automatically qualify for our giveaway contest, not contestants. If you want to be a contestant for our giveaways, all you have to do is join our membership here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Also want to give a big shout out to everybody listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there as well. But today we got some things to talk about, man. I mean, draft is right around the corner, man. I mean, we're about a month out from the draft, so we've got our personal Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, whatever you want it is, and our guy Jason here, Huddle It Up Films. Make sure you go and subscribe to his channel. That's probably the most important thing I got to say here. Subscribe to at Huddle It Up Films. If you're watching on YouTube right now, his channel is actually linked in the title. All you have to do is just click the handle in the title, right? That's all you got to do. And if you're watching on X, which we know a lot of you guys watch on X, shout out to you guys as well. Salute. He is also mentioned in the X post, so you can go ahead and follow him on Twitter as well. Very easy to find our guests here at PRP. But again, thank y'all so much for coming through. Jason, let's go ahead and let's not even mince any more words. Let's just get into it because we got a couple things to touch on before we get to the draft talk. I haven't talked to you, Jason, or you, Alex, in a while about this whole Max Crosby situation. Max Crosby came out earlier this week. We don't got to spend too much time on this, very minimal time, right? And again, also shout out to everybody in the live chat. Salute to y'all in the live chat and the replay gang. Shout out to y'all. Please be sure to like the video. But we don't got to waste too much time on the Max Crosby thing. But when you heard what Max Crosby had to say and how that whole fiasco went down, right? With him being there for 5 hours without seeing DaCosta and Minter and them coming up and saying, oh, well, we're having second thoughts. What was your whole take on the Max Crosby kind of fail, right? Epic fail, Jason.
The aftermath, this is not like I was expecting him to be happy or complimentary of the Ravens. So it's, what he had to say. What's going on, Tila? What he had to say didn't surprise me I was just kind of disappointed in the whole thing because I love Max Crosby and I saw a report today. Don't even know what's real and what's not out there. And I'm just trying to just forget it and move on. But the term septic was used in his knee, that he had said that. It sounds pretty crazy to me. Like maybe there was a lot going on more than just the meniscus surgery. So I'm gonna try not to be judgmental. If I'm a Ravens fan, it is what it is. If I'm a Raiders fan, I understand they're salty. I don't take it personal. I don't really care. You know what I mean? We ended up pivoting to Trey Hendrickson, whether we were trying to get both on the team or not. And it's over, and it's time to concentrate on the guys we have in the building.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I really can't agree more there. I'm tired of going on Twitter and seeing it. I'm tired of seeing his podcast clips about it. Cool. I'm at the point now where we're just hearing you talk about it. You're beating the horse that's dead. You're still getting paid. I don't know, your packets are still going to be full. The whole thing about flying, if you fly straight from, BWI to Vegas, it's either Southwest or Spirit. You're not getting first class there. So we gave you first class. You came to DC, whatever. You're crying over spilt milk at that point. I'm not too sure like what he was just trying to get out of it. So it's just going to be a story. We won't hear the Ravens side or the truth, I think. But if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm happy because I get my best player back. I have all these free agent signings, and I have my number one overall pick. So good on them. Best luck to them. Didn't think we would be back in the 2000s with having a beef with the Raiders, but here we are. But I kind of love it. So I hope we do see them. Probably won't be in the playoffs. Probably it'll be when we play the AFC West again, but should be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I kind of covered it on a Quiet Storm the other day, fellas, and I was just saying how I appreciate that sub. No water, no water, girls. I appreciate that sub. But no, I was saying the other day on Quiet Storm, guys, how the whole thing kind of smelled fishy. And I feel like there's some blame to go around, right? There's some blame to go towards the Raiders. There's some blame to go towards Eric DeCosta and the Ravens, right? There's some blame to go towards, I think, Max Crosby's doctor telling him exactly what he wanted to hear instead of what he needed to know, and it kind of all fell apart at the end. And it's water under the bridge at this point. I will say that mainly because, the Ravens did get Trey Hendrickson, which is a comparable pass rusher. And you also got your 2 first-round picks back, one from this upcoming draft at pick number 14 and also next year's draft too. So, I mean, again, over a week removed from it, I'm over it as well. I'm kind of done talking about it, but it was just kind of interesting to hear Max's side of the story. So I did have to bring that up at the top of the show. Outside of that, though, fellas, I mean, before one more thing before we touch on draft, right? And Alex, I haven't talked to you about this. David Njoku visited Baltimore, right? He visited Baltimore, and they let him go home. They didn't sign him yet, but there are some rumblings. People in the fan base are thinking or putting two and two together, saying, I wouldn't mind the prospect of having Mark Andrews and David Njoku catching passes for Lamar Jackson in 2026. Jason, what do you think about David Njoku and the potential fit that he would have on this Ravens offense?
I think the fit is fine. It's good. It's not. I wouldn't say perfect fit. He's not a do it all tight end. So what you get in a blocking game is kind of hit or miss. You had a history of drops too in Cleveland. But one thing you can't deny with David Njoku is how good he is with the ball in his hands. And think about all the Browns matchups. I'm sure you guys talked about it here. And I would talk about it on my matchup shows during the week. It's like, man, should we move Kyle to kind of strong safety this game and forget the Joker role and just make sure he's tackling David Njoku instead of some of the other guys that we've had? All the broken tackles. Coach DC mentioned last night the chip and release. That's something that he's really good at, famous for. So he's chipping, those big defensive ends, pass rushers over there, and just releasing out in the flat, catching a short one, and motoring ahead and keeping you on schedule. So I mean, I don't think that he would be paid any amount that would supplant Mark Andrews for targets or anything like that. I think he's like a 2 to 5 target guy a game. Some you might only get 2. Most weeks he gets 3 or 4, and he just helps you move the chain. And I think it wouldn't preclude us from drafting a tight end, which is really what we need to do in the room is get a young, athletic, move blocking Isaiah Likely type replacement is kind of what I'm looking for. And Njoku is really not that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we got him, but I still wanted to draft somebody. I think, day 2 or day 3, we've made our bread and butter there, drafting tight ends, and we have a fantastic track record. So if they were to bring him in, I hope it wouldn't hinder us getting somebody else. But I feel like they maybe could be waiting until after the draft. If he were to still be there, maybe they could revisit it. But if they got him, cool. If they didn't, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. But I'll tell you one thing, I did hate playing him a lot of the years because he's always find a way to score on us or have a big play against us. So he has an AFC North familiarity. He's a good tight end, so it's not gonna ruin my day if we don't get him, and I won't be sitting here jumping around if we got him. But it's good to see we're out there taking a look and just dipping the toes in the water.
Yeah, agreed. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. We got a lot of members here. On this one. We got Chris M in the house. We got Tila M is for moderator in the house as well. Appreciate you for coming through, Tila, as well. What other members we got in here? Shelly Shell is another member in the house. What up? Appreciate y'all. You guys are awesome. Let me see. We do have a super chat donation. We got an early super chat donation. This one's coming from JD, making it rain here on this episode 391 of the Purple Rain podcast. We'll toss this one to you, Jason. With a $2 donation, JD says, what's your thoughts on trading the 14th overall pick for Drake London?
I would rather have Drake London than any receiver in this draft, for sure. This is not a 2022 type draft where we got a talent like Kyle Hamilton at 14. You remember Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, teams trading up to get them. That's kind of how Kyle Hamilton fell in our lap. But Drake London, I think, is better than Mekhi Lemon. I think he's better, more stable than Jordan Tyson. Carnell Tate, I don't think he's making it to 14, so we shouldn't talk about him. But my only worry with that, JD, is that the way this roster looks now, if we give up the 14th pick for Drake London, we're pigeonholed into having to take offensive line help maybe in the next two rounds 2 and 3. I don't know if there's any kind of solution out there via trade or free agency to really make me feel a whole lot better about where we stand with the O-line. I kind of like having Vega Ioane as an option at number 14 as well. But if we traded for Drake London at 14, I'd be really happy with it. I just think it makes it tougher to build out the O-line. That's all.
Yeah, I really like Drake London. I love his game. I just don't see why the Falcons would trade him right now. I think you have him, Pitts, and Bijan, good guys to build around. And then obviously Penix could be a question mark, but I've been on the record saying I think Joe Flacco should go to Atlanta. Familiarity with Stefanski, I think he would do good there, if he had to just kind of steady the ship while Penix gets healthy. So I don't think they're going to trade him. I would love him, but I would give the 14th for him. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver, but I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that I'm getting ready to say here on this episode, I can't really say that I would trade the 14th overall pick for Drake London, but damn, does that sound sweet at the same time. Because Drake London is honestly probably one of my favorite receivers in the NFL today. I think he's extremely underrated. Sure hands, big body, vertical threat, red zone threat. Most importantly, man, I mean, I saw multiple times the Falcons down low in the red zone. They're targeting Drake London. He's finding a way to get open. He's getting contested catches over guys. He is amazing, man. I love me some Drake London. That's
great
for sure.
Compliment to Zay. Great compliment for Zay.
Absolutely.
Flowers.
For sure. 100%.
You got a red zone threat. That's what Zay, things that Zay can do, he can't do, and vice versa. So I kind of like that. I mean, maybe you would have to pay Drake coming up kind of soon or whatever, but it's hard to find big old X receivers that are productive like him. So.
For sure. All right, now, fellas, listen, we got over 125 people watching live right now. Shout out to you guys watching this episode 391 of the Purple Rain podcast. If you are watching over on YouTube, please be sure to leave a like on this video. And if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. We do go live multiple times a week. So if you do enjoy Ravens content, go ahead and lock in with us. Join the Rain Gang family. We'd appreciate that. Now, listen, here's what we got to get into first, guys. So this is obviously a draft-centric episode. Now, before we get into specific players and players that we would, potentially want at 14 and beyond, right? I want to ask you guys this question. And this question is not only for the panel. This question is for the chat and everybody watching at home, the hashtag replay gang. I want you to leave, if you have to, leave an essay in the comment section or the chat. Is best player available, BPA, is that a flawed philosophy? Right, to just follow standard as a team drafting in the NFL draft, right? So, for example, right, do you think that the Ravens, and I'll just kind of couple these two questions together, is BPA flawed, and do you think that the Ravens are in a position, right, to pick best player available at pick number 14 in this year's draft? Jason, we'll start with you, but again, chat, put it down below in the chat, the comment section. We'll read through those as well as much as we can. But Jason, I'm gonna toss it to you on this one.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but we are not in a position to go BPA right now. We're going to have to scoot our board, and like BPA works if you do it right. If you have the holes, immediate holes plugged, filled on your team, and you can just go and pick the best player. Clearly, you put yourself in the position to pick the position of need. You mix need in there. Obviously, it's a complicated thing, but what I'm saying is, if we had to start Tyler Linderbaum back, I would feel a lot better about just going BPA. If we had a stronger inside offensive line at guard, with John Simpson and Emory Jones, both I believe in Emory Jones wholeheartedly. John Simpson is okay. No depth behind them either. We need a tight end. We could use some depth at receiver. Like there's a lot of things we need, but specifically that O line. And if we had, like I said, if we had Tyler Linderbaum on this team right now, I would say just go BPA. We're going to be fine. We'll get a guard somewhere in this draft. Maybe we can sign a veteran guard, but we're not quite there with like plugging the holes. And that's when you have immediate holes, you have to push those guys up the board. And what do you end up doing? You end up passing on the BPA because you're drafting more for need at that point. So you want to go BPA, have a clean roster going in. And right now, I don't think we're quite there.
Fantastic. That's honestly a great way to put it. I don't think we are right now this year. Obviously, last year we were. We drafted Malachi Starks, but this year we have way too many holes. I think if we would have had, or if you were more aggressive in free agency, maybe we did get maybe a guard or actually a center, then yeah, you're in a great position. If we went out and got, like Cushionberry, let's just speak in hypotheticals, and maybe another guard before draft, then I think you're in a pretty good position, I'd say. But right now, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially for me to say that, if we say that we can draft a BPA, when I just sat here the whole offseason, the whole season, and got mad at Lamar getting hurt or on his ass or just rushing, that would be just no. Yeah, we have got to draft the line trenches. You've got to protect your investment. Yeah, no BPA right now for me.
Yeah, and I have to agree with both of you fellas. And I think the biggest thing is, I think kind of the question I would pose is for the chat. Like, so for example, right? And I think there's a poll in the chat that says, hey, look, if these guys are available, pick number 14, who are you taking? Are you taking Jeremiah Love if he's available? Are you taking Jordan Tyson if he's available? Or are you taking Vega Ione if he's available? Right. And I wanna check in on that chat here soon, and I will, and I'll bring up the results. But for me, I do totally think that the whole BPA method and philosophy is flawed. I only think that teams should be picking best player available. I think that that's for rebuilding teams who have multiple holes, right? Like huge holes on their roster where it's like, okay, we're not going to compete this year, so we might as well just take whoever the best player in the draft is and just, come back to the well next year because we're not going to the Super Bowl. Some teams know. Some teams know just for a fact that, like, hey, look, we have needs at running back, hell, receiver, quarterback, whatever combination of those, line, DBs, whatever. So I think in that case, you go BPA. But in the Ravens case, where you're really only like patching up a few holes away from being whole, right? And I think that that's mainly has to do with the offensive line. So I think instead of BPA for the Ravens specifically, because I really want to talk about the Ravens here, instead of BPA, I think it should be MVP, most valuable pick. And here's another thing I'll toss at you fellas. Like, I think that we need to start evaluating what value is a little bit differently than what we do now, because the amount of people that I see online, in the forums, on Twitter, stuff like that, in the YouTube comments.
Oh,
I guess we'll
so,
never know. I guess we'll never know.
hey,
I don't. I
I'll pick it up because I like something that he said there.
yeah.
Most valuable pick is a good way to put BPA when it's done right. Like,
Mhm.
okay, we got two players that are graded about the same, but so it's really they're both the BPA. Who's most valuable to our team at that point? Do we need somebody that could? We got free agency coming up. We're losing up like tight end last year. We're losing our whole tight end room. If we had a tight end or another auxiliary position that really didn't need to be filled, two guys with the same grade, well, you take the tight end because you're going to lose your whole room the next year. Or if there's a hole or something like that. So I really like the. I'd never heard that before from Slut. But most valuable pick, I think, is almost a better way to put BPA.
What is
So
that? There we go. Finish it off.
Got sniped. I got sniped. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
hey, I love the
Yes.
fact
All right,
I
cool.
think MVP is a better way to put BPA. It really is because you
Yeah.
really want to put you want to really want to pick the guy who's the most valuable. You got two guys with the same grade, but one's going to make your team a lot better because of reasons of need. That's where need gets mixed into the BPA. So I love the MVP conversation. Just to set you up there.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the biggest thing is like you can't for the Ravens, for example, because I mentioned the whole Vega versus Tyson or Jeremiah Love if he's there. At the end of the day, guys, you cannot put the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that, right? You have to kind of all right, this is not Madden. While I understand the prospect of like maybe drafting a Jeremiah Love if he's there, like transcendent talent, sure, right? But this is not Madden. We're not trying to, make a franchise team and we're not trying to be first team all fun, right? We have holes on this roster that need to be filled right now. And if we fill those specific holes, we could be in the championship, quite literally. Right. So I think that that's kind of where I land on again, most valuable pick for what you need right now. What is going to provide you with the most value right now? I think it's kind of foolish to say that somebody like a wide receiver, again, or just a pass catcher in general, or a skill player in general is more valuable than the position that opens up opportunities for said skill players, right? Therefore, I think you got to go with a guy like Ioane, go with a guy like Thana or whoever is there, right? That's just kind of my logic and thinking on it. Um, but and I've heard a lot of people say, and I guess we'll get to the big board here in a second. But Jason, speak really quick to, how deep these draft classes are. I mean, this draft class is this year because I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, we can get guards in rounds 2 through 4 this year," and I hear a lot of people saying that you can get pass catchers in those same rounds as well. Speak a little bit to how deep this draft class is while I pull up your big board here.
Sure. I would say late round one, round two is where it gets really deeper. It's deeper than usual, more talent than usual there, more the guys that are worthy. And then through round four. So I have more gradable guys in the orange column and above on my board who are guys that you really want to target in this draft. They're not just end of the board guys. I think I have 126 players in that tier. That's a lot. I mean, that's actually going into the fifth round. So you want to say like rounds 2 through 5, I think are better than average, and that's one of the things when you're talking about making that pick count in the first round is you got this second round coming up, and there's this star, and you got to say, okay, so because you brought it up, Sutton, we can get a guard in round 2, we can get a guard in round 3. Well, what if there's a pass rusher that you think can get 10 sacks there? You know what I mean? If you didn't address the offensive line in free agency, you didn't address it in round one. Now all of a sudden it's round 2 or round 3, and you're picking O linemen when there are stud guys available at other positions. So that's kind of the conundrum there, guys. You want to plug those holes. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a very deep edge rusher class. It's a very deep wide receiver class. Those two positions are way deeper than normal, especially the pass rushers.
And real quick
Got
for
you.
the
Got you. So,
big board
okay, go
in
ahead.
the
My
dark
bad. My bad,
in the
Alex. Go
dark
ahead. Yeah.
green, the top 6, that is the guys who, if it was any first round draft in the past couple of years, they would still be a first round pick, correct?
And if you put 2 or 3 drafts together, they'd still be in the first round. Is
Okay,
another good way to think it. So
just to
yeah,
clear
it's
stuff up with the different greens.
it's a hard to
Yeah.
get those grades. Those are true first round guys. So when you talk about Love and Ione, like the
Mhm.
draft board is a guide. It's not saying that I got Love 2 spots ahead of Ioane. It's just a different grade up there at the top. Those guys are going to go in the first round in any draft.
Yeah, so really quick, for those of you guys watching on YouTube and watching on X right now, this is the draft board, the big board, and positional rankings from our guy Huddled Up Films, who's here on stream with us right now. If you want to access this exact same document, right, all you got to do is click the link wherever you're watching on X. Click on his Twitter handle or X handle, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, you can click on his YouTube handle in the title, right, and that'll lead you to his social media and things like that, I'm sure as well. So right here, you see you have the big board here, and you see the key in the bottom right hand corner here. Go ahead and explain the key here, and then we'll get to the positional ranks. I want you to explain that too, Jason, just really quick.
Sure. So I'm not sure if you can scroll down at any just to get all 25 rows in there. Okay. But yeah, the greens explain true first round grades, guys that would go in first round in any draft. And then that next light green are guys that are predicted to go in the first round. So regardless of team needs. Like teams are going to have different needs come the end of the first round, and the players are all going to look the same. Well, those 21 guys should go regardless. They're that talented. And as you notice, this is a Raven-centric board. So Caleb Downs, the safety, is faded all the way to 14. Dylan Thieneman, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, those guys are way more talented, in my opinion, than they are shown on my board, because we're not taking a safety in the first round, fellas. Like we got Malachi Starks, we got Kyle Hamilton, and we just signed Jalen Hawkins. After that, the board evens out. So when you get to that yellow, those are guys who earned a true second round grade. Those are future starters plus starters at their position, and guys that can help you this year, which I think is another big factor that separates that yellow from colors below it. The purple color, the next tier, are guys who are predicted to go day 2. So day 2, day 3 guys, they'll definitely go. That purple should be about empty by the time. And then the next tier, like I talked about, that's the orange. Day 2 pick, and the ones that make it to day 3, that's going to be a value pick on day 3. You can expect these guys to play in some packages. Are they going to be superstars? No, probably not. You never know. But think about the eyes. Think about the good 4th round picks that we've had. Think about the good 3rd round picks that we've had. These are the guys that have that potential, where they're going to start in certain personnel groupings. They're going to be a positive to your team as the rotational player, as a top backup, a spot starter, and maybe you get lucky and get a Matabike out of that group. So yeah, more of those guys this year, though. Simply as 126 total in that orange or above. Last year I had 113.
Nice. And then also we have this page here for positional rankings. Go ahead and break this one down. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I this is my favorite page here, Jason. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've spent the past 48 hours almost just kind of like just staring at this document here, this page of the document specifically. What are we looking at?
I think this is easier to understand, for people.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because you just able to see it all together. But yeah, you can see the depth there at edge. I think is the best. This is the best snapshot of it. So why I love it. Like, look at all those edge players, those pass rushers that are in the yellow, the second round grade and above. And this is what I'm saying when one of the reasons I'm a big proponent of filling the O line early and getting Ioane is because come to round 2. Look at all those receivers and look at all those edge rushers that are legit, like legit enough. That's a heavy group in both. So you don't want to have to draft a guard in round 2 or round 3. One of these players, teams aren't going to need, like, not every team is going to need the edge rusher. They're going to pick from other positions like corners and receivers and all kinds of other stuff, offensive tackles. So yeah, that's where the draft is really deep. And and Miss Fancy Pants, we're going to be updating this on draft day, on draft night, taking names off of the board, taking names off of the positional grouping. Will be with these guys, man, my guys on draft night. So we'll be updating it as we go. And I think what also this helps you to do is if you want to do some studying on your own, you can do that. You can compare 2 players or 3 players that are closer in the same tier. And I want to plug one other thing for the board right here, and that's the style of player. And I think it shows up in the edge rusher spot this year. So, guys, when you think of Mike Green, when you think of Trey Hendrickson, what do you think of? Like professional pass rushers. Guys that you line up over left tackle. You can burn the edge. You can let them use all their moves. Blue chip, like just get after the quarterback's blind side type guy. What we're missing on this team, and especially after Tavius might graduate, he's a free agent after this year, is that Max Crosby, is that Pernell McPhee, is that Zerdarius Smith, a guy who can take a direct path to the quarterback. Does not need to burn the edge, run past the quarterback, do all that stuff. But a guy that can take a chip, beat up a right tackle, make sure the quarterback can't roll out to the right, stop the run, against double teams, tight ends, and right tackles, and just be a butt kicker. So those guys are going to be higher on my edge board. I'm going to bump them up a little higher than kind of the finesse guys who might be sub rushers. You know what I mean? We need that every down because we got Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green for the next 3+ years. I think 3-4 years. So guys like Zion Young higher on my board. Derek Moore from Michigan higher on my board because they're that strong side edge. So it's not just like not all pass rushers are made the same, not all corners are made the same. Not all wide receivers. We talked about Drake London and his fit. there are guys that are Ravens. That's what makes it a Ravens centric board.
Okay. That was a lot. So before we get into it, I know we have 11 picks this year. When it's all said and done, do you think all 11 are used?
I hope not. I hope
Yeah.
not. I think it's time. Like we've learned this lesson before. What was it, 2024,
Two.
where all the guards went?
Oh,
What was the year where all the guards went in the third round, and we took Adisa Isaac? I think it was 24. But it was
yes.
this
Yes.
big run on guards, like unforeseen run. Like why not package your fourth round pick in one of your sixes or something to move up, and switch picks with them in the third round. Like I don't like we have a lot of holes, but I would like to see us get more aggressive and show a willingness to move up and get a pick if you get a player that we covet instead of just playing the waiting game a little too much and get burned again.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Like, I know that EDC loves taking his corners, but you have Kone and Longerbeam who you drafted last year. Let's say you draft two more corners. You're either cutting guys you drafted this year or last year.
Right.
That's just not the way to do it. So I hope we can package them up, but I'm expecting all 11 to be used,
And
unfortunately.
think about Kyle Hamilton is listed as a safety, but he really plays nickel corner. That's his spot. I mean, that's why we had Alohi Gilman last year. That's why we got Jalen Hawkins this year, because Kyle's close to the line. So you're talking about a lot of downs. The majority of the time, we're only playing two cornerbacks. We already have Nate. We already have Marlowe. We already have Awuzie. We already have TJ Tampa. We got
Mhm.
Keon to play the slot if we need, like longer beam and Kone, like you're saying. So yeah, corner we actually look pretty good.
Pinch
Yeah.
yourself.
And yeah, and I wanted to bring up really quick in the live chat here on YouTube. That is where we have about 100 people watching live. Shout out to you guys. Be sure to like the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on X, salute to you as well. Maybe come on over to YouTube and hang out with the live chat and chop it up with us here. But I do have a poll here on YouTube that says, if available, who should the Ravens pick at number 14? Like I said, either Yaone Vega, Jordan Tyson, Jeremiah Love, or other. And if you pick other, please comment it down below in the comment section, right? I want to know. But 67% of people out of 75 voters so far picked Yaone Vega to be picked at number 14 if he is available, regardless of if some of those kind of really, really good skill position talents are there as well, which I totally agree with. I mean, I'm right there with the chat. I mean, looking at Jason's big board here, like he mentioned before, if you look at some of the grades for the guards that are here, I mean, you got Ione, who's a true first round grade, and then after that, you're looking at
Right.
right, like kind of like day two guys, right, Jason?
And you want to free yourself up to be able to not have to take Chase Pasantes or Emmanuel Pregnon. And there's a chance that Pasantes or Pregnon are gone before 45, and then you're really have to reach. Now you really have to hope. And some of the guys in that guard center category are centers, so they can't help you at guard. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a center probably anyway because we signed the two players, but we signed them. The guy we just signed was for backup money. Pinter is a career backup. Gwynn is a career backup. So we still need a starting center unless we like Bullock, and I have no idea what's going on there. But yeah, man, it's they said the depth in this draft is really good, and I would hate to pass on one of those dudes to be like, yeah, we kind of need a guard, or we're not, we're going to be screwed again.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, and that's my thing with adding a Vega Ione. And I want you to kind of speak to his strengths really quick, just for those watching out there who don't really know too much about him. But for me, when I kind of read up on him and I watched a lot of his tape, I saw you mention a game against I want to say it was like Illinois or somebody where Penn State played them, and he had some really good moments in that game. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I looked through a lot of Vega tape today, right? And I kind of came to
Nice.
the conclusion like, oh, this guy is a set it and forget it type of guard, which is you need more of those type of pieces on the offensive line right now. And I get it, like adding Vega is not like you're adding like a shiny new weapon, a shiny new toy for the offense, right? But you are removing what's holding everything else back. And I think that's where the value kind of lies in with getting a guard so early. And I get it. Historically, teams don't really pick guard in the top 15. They don't, but I think that the Ravens are in a unique position now to where, hey, look, we don't need some crazy talent at running back. We don't necessarily need some crazy talent at wide receiver or really quarterback. I mean, we have Lamar Jackson, one of the most talented players of all time, quite frankly. And all you have to do in order to enable him and make this offense go is get him a competent offensive line. And getting a Vega on that O-line at left guard does that. You can put John Simpson at the right guard. You can put Emory Jones at the right guard. Have them fight it out for all I care, right? But I need insurance at that offensive line spot, in left guard, center, and right guard. I need that more than I need air. It's like, because you think about it, like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, that offense is like it's like a premium sports car, right? And like, we've got the flashy rims and the paint job and everything like that. And then the engine's real loud, it roars when you pull off the lot, right? But we're going to the gas station, we're putting unleaded gas in it, right? You know what I mean? We need to put premium gas in this engine to make it go, to optimize it, to make it run the way it should run, right? And that's what an offensive line is for. Everything else follows, right? If you put that premium gas inside of this offense. So again, Jason, I want you to speak a little bit to Yaona Vegas, just in case the Ravens do end up drafting him. Speak a little bit to his strengths and speak to his weaknesses as well, and kind of his overall fit with the Ravens if they were to draft him.
Well, I mean, just to paint the picture, I'm not saying draft a guard because he's a guard, and we have two guards. Like he's higher on my board than Tyler Booker was last year. The only guard in recent memory I've had higher than him was Quentin Nelson. So you're looking at this type of level of offensive lineman. This isn't just like, hey, I want a guard because the position of need and stuff like that. Like this guy's a stud. I think PFF had him for no sacks allowed the last 2 seasons. What stands out to me is, for a guy who's only been playing football for like 5 or 6 years, the game comes natural. I think we looked at some tape of him on here last time, just how tight his elbows are, how fierce he punches, how quick his feet are. Like, you can't get by him. He stonewalls the bigger defensive tackles, and the quicker defensive tackles can't get around him. So he gives you a top pass protection, like a specialist, and then he's a badass in the run game. Like, it's bodies all over the place. You watch it, you don't have to watch long. One game to just see him just throwing people around, knocking people's head off. When he knocks them to the ground, he does the old jump on them just to put a little more pain. You jump up and try to bat a pass down, he's going to make you pay for it. You reach out to try to tackle a running back at an awkward angle, he's going to put all 320 pounds and drive you on the ground. So he's got that too.
Gotta watch out for that, though, the unnecessary roughness calls, right?
Yeah, they let the linemen get away with it, though. I'm just blocking you. I was just blocking you. Lineman on lineman violence doesn't usually get legislated when they're flopping on each other, man. But yeah, I'm just saying, look, I don't want to come off here like, hey, we need a guard. We got to draft one early because this guy is deserving of the pick. And I think that Tyler Booker with the Cowboys last year may have opened the league's eyes up to, look, we can put a guy here and he's going to be, Pro Bowl player and be able to start day one and really stabilize our line. That's valuable. Whereas, in the past, I think guards have been devalued. And as Ravens fans, the last 2 years, we can see what the value is. Like you said, Sut, your best 2 players on offense, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, are standing right behind the 5 offensive linemen. It's kind of important to both of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Alex?
I don't know how to follow that up. Genuinely, I cannot sit here and say I'm watching his tape, but I know what I watched last year, and I know what our starting line is this year, and I'm not happy with it. I know we signed a couple of guys, but are they really going to take this offense to the next level? The answer is no. So if you get a guy like that at 14, 100%, you got to, and not a chance you read this. Thank you for the $4.99. Says, what position?
Yes, sir.
What position group is criminal to not address early, like defensive line in 2025? Appreciate all of the hard work. Hashtag draft Grayson Halton. For me, what position group is criminal? O-line. Like I said, you cannot sit here and be upset at the fact that our offense played down last year and sit here and say you want to take this guy or that guy if it's not a lineman, because that's what I was back I felt. All right, we sat here numerous times, looked at tape of our O-line just getting beat, of our left guard and right guard looking clueless. And I'm not going to sit here and just say, well, we should draft this guy or that guy, and it's not a line. So for me, it has to be O-line. Obviously, you can get D-line later in the draft, but if he's there, offensive line at 14.
100%. I mean, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I don't think that it's worth playing or taking the gamble of going for a wide receiver or, a skill position type of player early. You know what I mean? And then trying to gamble on, like my guy Jason said, if there's going to be some of these guards available, Basantis, Pregnon, around pick 45 when we pick again. So I definitely think first and foremost, not a chance you read this, definitely got to go O-line. The O-line literally helps out everything else. I mean, for me personally, I want cleaner A gaps, right? I want better pocket depth for Lamar, and I want consistent push in the run game. You have those three things. I mean, the offense, like literally everything else follows behind it. I mean, we're not looking to reinvent the wheels, so to say, when it comes to, okay, we need a quarterback who can do this. We need a running back who can do that. We need wide receivers who can do all of this. No, we already have the pieces, guys. We have the skill pieces. We just need the offensive line pieces to make it all go, right? But thank you so much. Not a chance you read this for the $4.99 super chat donation. We do have another super chat donation. Who else is making it rain here? Shiesteezy dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Appreciate you, Shiesteezy. Says, wish casting here, but if you can trade next year's first to get Carnell Tate and Vega, do you do it? Jason, take it away.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's wish casting because to move up that far in the first, you're probably gonna have to give up next year's first. But like, yeah, dude, I mean, Carnell Tate's the real deal. Don't let his 40 time fool you. He plays fast, and he can run routes. Think about a Drake London who can run routes. That's Carnell Tate. It's coming out of the wide receiver factory of Ohio State, and I don't mean that as a knock on Drake London. Drake London can run some routes. Carnell Tate can do it better. You get that separation more. It doesn't have to rely on his height. I mean, when he measured in at 6'2", I was surprised because I thought he was 6'4", 6'5". Like that's the way Carnell Tate plays, and so yeah, love Carnell Tate. I believe he's like number 2 overall on my board. That's how much I like him. He's an ex receiver, and even in a deep wide receiver class, they don't make him like him.
Yeah, for multiple reasons, especially when your quarterback has an $82 or $84 million cap hit next year. Go all in to win this year because after this year, I really don't know what's going to happen. I want to sit here and act like it's sunshine and rainbows, but this is a year, man. You got to make it happen. So if you get both of them this year, 100% you do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shiesteezy, for the $5 super chat donation. We appreciate that, making it rain here on this episode 391 of the Purple Rain podcast. Quick update to our poll here in the chat. Iona Vega is still firmly in the lead with 64% of the votes now. Following behind him is Jeremiah Love at 20%. So some of y'all out there do want the Ravens to go ahead and draft a running back, right? And to me, that just sounds absolutely asinine. All 20% of y'all who voted for that. Again, reason being, I mean, what do you want Jeremiah Love to come to the Ravens and waste his first 2 to 3 years where he's probably going to be his best and cheapest, right? Sitting behind a Derrick Henry, right? Developing and whatnot. That's just not first pick worthy for us. Again, that's why it's not about best player available. It's more so about the most valuable pick for you. It has to make sense for you. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand with that. But appreciate all of you guys voting in the chat. If you've not voted already, please cast your vote. And if you have another selection that you think that the Ravens should pick at number 14, please leave it down below in the comments section. All right, Jason, moving right along here. Again, looking at your big board here. Again, we have our guy Jason from Huddle It Up Films here on this episode 391 of PRP. I want to ask you this, Jason. So obviously the Ravens pick at 14. Do you think if you were Eric DeCosta, right, you're in the war room on draft night, would you be more likely, based on what you know, like from your big board and your construction of it and everything, would you be more likely to trade up or trade down in this draft, right? Because I see mixed reviews online. Some people are like, oh, you can take that 14 pick, give it to whoever. You can get pick number 25 or 30 something, and we can kind of double dip here. Like, what are your thoughts on either trading up or trading back in this draft?
I think there's a chance at pick 14 that we could be caught with our pants down. I was going to say something else, but we could get caught with it in our hand at 14. And there's nobody there to pick that's really worthy. Vega's gone. You know what I mean? All the popular names that you love are gone. And in that case, I would be a proponent of just trading back and being like, look, man, we need to be able to hit now multiple spots in that second round range there's nobody here worth the 14th pick. Would anybody even want to trade up to 14? Like, I doubt it. You know what I mean? It's going to run pretty dry pretty quick. After that, though, as I stated earlier, when it comes to round 3, round 4, and there's a guy out there who can really help your team, I suggest you trade up and go get him. And that's been a knock of mine on Eric DaCosta. He says a lot of gives a lot of smoke screens and things when he talks, but I think he's made it pretty. I think he came out and said it one year. We're not in the business of trading up, and I was just hoping that was just a bold faced whatever, but he hasn't shown the proclivity to trade up. So first round, like if somebody like Ruben Bain, number 1 player on my board, slips to like 9, 8, something like that, he'd be worth trading up for sure. But also prepare yourself for the possibility that even everybody's favorite guy, Ioane's gone, Love's gone, Tate's gone, Bain's gone, the pass rushers are gone, Sonny Styles is gone, and you're like, well, do we want this guy with Jordan Tyson's got an injury history, tore his ACL, broke his collarbone, had hamstrings this year? Do we really want Jordan Tyson on this team, or would it be best to trade back and just try to get a couple of guys that are really good?
This kind of feels like 2022 all over again, where I think the Ravens fans, a group consensus, agreed Jordan Davis was the right pick, and then come draft night, everything just fell apart. I don't know if you remember that, but I fully remember everybody kind of mocked Davis to the Ravens, and then oh well, maybe Thibodeau falls, maybe this guy falls, and then the whole draft night was just something different. Do you think the same thing could happen this year per se? Maybe somebody that we don't expect falls. Or is it pretty set in stone that the top guys will go top and there won't be anybody falling?
Yeah, you never could recognize who that guy would be, right? I think David Bailey has a chance to fall. I don't think he's for everybody, but David Bailey, true first round grade. So this is a talented guy, racked up the sacks. Talking about a really fast fastball. But what I was talking about earlier, he's in the mold of a Mike Green or a Trey Hendrickson. He's not very good against the run. From what I've seen, he could probably be good against the run, but that's not why he's getting a first round grade. Sonny Styles, by the way, I think is more than a linebacker. He's going to fall on the inside linebacker, but he's got the skills to be able to move him around. So you're in a base nickel defense, and maybe they have a bunch formation. The other team has a bunch formation to the right. You just kind of scoot him up on the edge on that side and dare them to throw it that way because he's going to pick it off, get a handle. Like Sonny Styles is a very versatile player. Maui Noah, I think, may fall. Maybe some people want the right tackle or the left tackle over the right tackle. But overall, I mean, it's kind of tough to say because I think there's a real split between that dark green and the light green.
Yes, sir, fellas, and we do have another super chat donation here in the house. This one's coming from Cool Breeze, dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Appreciate you, Cool Breeze. Rain in this episode 391 of the Purple Rain podcast. Cool Breeze says, if you could add Jamar Chase or Quentin Nelson to the Ravens for $5 million, who would you add? Interesting.
Jamar Chase is worth way more than $5 million.
That's what I'm saying. $5 million. For that number? Okay.
Quentin Nelson's
kind of throwing me here.
Quentin Nelson's kind of old and beat up. You get yourself a Jamar Chase. They don't make Jamar Chases. You get that monster on your team and figure it out.
Yeah, especially for $5 million, right, Alex?
Easy. That's the no-brainer. Easy.
Yeah,
Jamar and Zay.
Easily.
Yeah. Give me
that. That was the most fired up I've been on the pod. Give me Jamar Chase, baby.
Brainer, Cool Breeze. We'll take Jamar.
Cool Breeze, bro. Yeah, get that brown, that ugly orange and black off of him, bro. Get him some purple and black, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now listen. Here's what I want to ask you, Jason. Let's dive a little bit deeper here, because obviously the Ravens have pick number 14. They pick in the.
Not again.
Pick 45. I was trying to do my Sutton.
They took in pick 45, Jason. So if we go O-line round 1, what do you think round 2?
Well, Sutton, I'm glad you asked. Really glad you asked. Yeah, round 2, pass rusher sticks out. Pass rusher sticks out simply. There's just so many of them. Wide receiver would be another wild card there. And I know Sutton, asked me about my favorite players in this draft. And I would say this would be a good spot to bring them up. Um, I see something coming up down there. It's kind of throwing me off. There he is.
Chris.
There we go.
Chris,
There we
this,
go.
I think I
So,
go to the
yeah,
CP Cup
we
Wi-Fi.
were doing we were covering our mouths.
I promise you, I promise not. Like I don't know. I have the best Wi-Fi. It's just like something. I don't know. It might be my computer. It might still be my computer.
Yeah, Chris is
Anyway.
saying you need to get paper cup Wi-Fi, like the Morse code or something.
I
We're sitting
see.
there in the clubhouse.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. I see what Chris is saying. Chris always hating on me anyways. Anyway, Jason, I got to ask you this as we have over 200 people watching live. Shout out to y'all. Please be sure to like the video. But Jason, let's dig a little deeper here. Who are 3 names on your big board that Ravens fans should have their eyes on? So who are some sleepers that maybe later on in the draft, we have like, 4 5th-round picks. We've got a 3rd-round pick, I'm pretty sure, as well. Who are some sleeper names that the Ravens could be looking at later in the draft that Ravens fans should have their eye out for?
I'll throw one in every round here. I'll go 2, 3, and 4 for you. So round 2, I'm looking at. There's a wide receiver out of Alabama that I love, Jeremy Bernard. He's got some Puka Nakua qualities to him, as far as just like the strength through the catch, the flair for the dramatic. Like he ran well too, so it's not he's not going to get dropped for that. What did he run, Jeremy? 4.48. But yeah, he's got a little bit of Debo Samuel to him with the ball in his hands, just with the toughness, the play strength. So I like Jeremy Bernard. Also in that second round, Zion Young, pass rusher from Missouri. We talked about getting a Zadarius Smith type. That's your guy. You line Zion Young up on the strong side, and it's a long day for right tackles. You try to put a tight end on him to block him. Good luck. Fullback, good luck. Play like a Raven mentality, old school, like he does it. It isn't just talk. He is a mean guy on the field, nice guy off the field. Our guy Yuri actually interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, but he has a very violent style to himself, and he gets you sacks, but by running through people. So you got a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, somebody that wants to roll right, get fancy, get out of the pocket. He's waiting for you to make a mistake. Zion Young just goes through. It's not a bunch of pass rush moves, speed, dip. Oh, let me try to. It's just, look, I'm just going to beat you up on the way to your quarterback, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I like him. We talked about the inside interior lineman. I think round 3 is the perfect spot for a center. So it's not on the board. You would have to go to the big board, but I want you to stay here, side. But on the big board, it says whether they're a center or a guard. But Sam Hecht, this starred guy, 3rd round, that would be a no-brainer. Perfect fit for outside zone, veteran center. Logan Jones, great center. Jake Slaughter, great center. Trey Zune can play center. And then you got so I'm looking at like 4 to 5 starting centers here in this draft. The kid from Duke, Brian Parker, as well. Jager Burton. Those are all starting centers that I believe will go in round 3, round 4. So round 3 seems like a good spot to get a starting center to come in. Yeah, Teal has always got the jokes. And then lastly, I would be amiss if I didn't mention the tight end group. Round 4 seems like a great spot for there. You see all the orange in that tight end group, guys. And I was talking to Coach about this. Like, I have Cuevas at tight end 10. If you had him as your tight end 3 or 4, I wouldn't argue with you. Like, it wouldn't be a real big argument. You know what I mean? That's how close together those guys are. So there's not much difference among those tight ends in that second tier, that orange and even the purple. We looked at Joe Lee and Trey last time I was on. So, yeah, how about round 2? You go for a splashy player at a premium position, wide receiver, pass rusher. Round 3, you get your center. Round 4, you get your tight end. So, yeah, that's kind of that's kind of the draft strategy I'm planning out here, guys, with some of my favorite players.
And you're hitting all the spots that we need, I think, and the spots where we have holes in the roster. So that's in a perfect world. And I'm hoping, let's say they like somebody else in round 3 or round 4, you package up maybe a couple of 5s and maybe next year pick one of them and you move back in if you really like a guy. But that's me wishful thinking. But I feel like you cannot have, 4 or 5 5th-round picks and use them all and expect them all to make the roster. That's not realistic. Right. So I'm really hoping this is a year where they like that guy and they move up for him. But just wishful thinking there.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I'm definitely going to be looking at that tight end spot because, we talked about earlier in the episode, guys, like whether or not they bring in David Njoku or not. I understand Durham Smythe Jr. or I I can't think of Junior from Smythe. He is more of a blocking tight end, right? So I do still think that, like Jason said at the beginning of the show, we need that pass catcher that I like type back. Which one of the tight ends do you think most fits in terms of like the guys where we would realistically be picking them, right? I know you kind of touched on the tight ends just now, but those predicted day 2 guys and then some of the day 2 and the day 3 guys, which one of those guys think kind of mimics what Isaiah likely brought to the table that the Ravens might want to go after?
Yeah, you bring a smile to my face because my star player, we talked about him a little bit last time, was Justin Jolie from NC State. And I mean, I'm not big on player comps. Every player's like, you can say this player comps to this player, and there's always going to be something different. But damn, if Jolie don't look like Isaiah Likely on the field, man, like it's the same kind of stuff. And he finds space when the play breaks down. He can run routes for you. I think his hands are like bigger than most quarterbacks and offensive linemen. He makes the tough catch look easy. He's smooth with the ball in his hand. Michael Trigg, another guy that I think our guys Simply and Sutton fell in love with last time, looking at some highlights for him. So, yeah, there's a reason that those 3 tight ends are in the purple and separated themselves from the other. Max Clare from Ohio State, another really solid bet. Like Max Clare, just an opinion on him. He got buried at Ohio State, guys. You got to think Simply. You got Jeremiah Smith. You got all those weapons at Ohio State. They're not really dumping off to the tight end a lot. Max Clare can block for you. He's like a really good combo tight end, so he can block in line. He can block in space. And I think that he'll be more productive in the pros, where he's like, pass catcher number 2, pass catcher number 3, like second or third option on the offense, compared to Ohio State, where he was just, we're just going to throw to these wide receivers all the time. We got Cornell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and the other kid, and we're just going to throw to them.
Yeah, they churn them out year in and year out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let me see. I think we covered most of what we needed to get to. Oh, one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. Defensive line, right? Who were some guys? Because I do expect the Ravens to draft a young defensive tackle of sorts and try to develop him, on this defense. Who do you think that the Ravens could realistically go after? Because I assume that they're probably going to be going after a guy like that, maybe at this point, round 3, 4-ish, which I'm looking at your guys from around that kind of that area. I mean, any of those guys you like potentially coming to the Ravens?
It's tough. I mean, finding a defensive tackle who pressures the quarterback and is not a total liability in the run, how hard that is to find. You know what I mean? Like most of these guys,
Facts.
You get 2 or 3 sacks, and it's hard to find a Meta BK or Aaron Donald or anybody with high sack numbers at defensive tackle. So you got to go early. And one thing I'll say about this being a Raven-centric board, we have CJ Okoye, we have John Jenkins, and we have Travis Jones. All of them are 0-1 techs at heart. They're all nose tackles. So, we're really needing another 3 tech, especially whether Matabike's back or not. We need somebody that can rush over the guard and really do it all there. Grayson Halton, he may end up earning a second-round grade after I dig into him again. A lot of people love him. Big pass rush upside. People like Christian Miller, McClellan. Those are your 3 techs in that range. I would say Halton, McClellan, Proctor, another. Proctor's interesting. He's out of Southeast Louisiana, I believe. Highly productive from that school. He's just got the small school knock on him. But he's like 6'3", 300, quick, blew up the combine. He's got the body type. And the production is just, hey, he went to Southeast Louisiana. So that's a knock on Proctor.
Yeah. And one more guy, and Alex, you can prepare a final question for Jason, but I got one more thing for Jason here. How do you feel about this edge rusher here? I mean, you have him day 2 prediction, right?
Crazy, huh?
Dennis Sutton here, right? I mean, I don't know what it is about this guy, but I have a good feeling about him. You know what I'm saying? If he was a Raven, right? Penn State guy. Vega's also a Penn State guy. We love our Penn State players. EDC does, right? So what's your read on Dennis Sutton? And then I'll toss it to Alex for his final question.
So, Sutton. It would be nice to have a Sutton on the team, wouldn't it, Sutton?
Wouldn't it though?
Sorry. I mean, we might have to get him to drop to Dennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sutton, dude, he's like Sutton Den. Sutton Den.
Sutton Den.
There we go.
No, he had I believe a lack of production in 25, and his 2024 was much better. I believe that's his story. But like what I like about Dennis Sutton is I feel like his ceiling and his floor are really close together. I feel like you know what you're getting from him. He's going to be a starter, probably like a mid-tier starter. You're probably not going to see him at the Pro Bowl, but he's going to get his share of sacks. He's going to do his job. He's going to be a productive pro. So I like Sutton Den a lot. I like Sutton Den a lot. Gabe Jacobs ahead of him. Like again, that's just a really stacked group.
Yeah. I also put in here in the chat says no Penn State players, please. I'm traumatized. Get it?
I feel
I
you,
get
bro.
it.
I
You know what I'm
sell.
saying? Yeah, I feel it. You know, OA was a big guy who came out of Penn State, and we were really expecting him to be, you know, that dude. But now we got a whole new coaching staff, right? I'm looking at Anthony Weaver, and I'm looking at all those guys. I'm looking at Jesse Minter to really, really coach these guys up. And you know, I who's the new defensive line coach? His name is kind of slipping me right now.
Yeah, bro. I'm lost in the sauce.
I gotcha.
I can't remember who it was. Yeah.
Lou
Quick fact check on that one.
Esposito from
Ah,
Michigan.
Esposito.
From Michigan.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I love that we're having guys who are coming from the college level be able to usher these college players into, you know, the NFL and professional level. And even adversely, like taking some of these pro level guys who've been pro for 2 or 5 years, you know, the vets, kind of reteaching them the fundamentals, right? That's what I'm super excited about with this new coaching staff. But I think whoever we get in our later round picks will be able, not whoever, right? But I think we'll be able to hit on a little bit more than usual of our picks. I think like right now our hit is around like 24-25%, about a quarter of our picks we actually do hit. When I say hit, I mean like make it to a second contract. I mean like starting caliber player, things like that. But I do have faith in this coaching staff. I think that's something that we are really underrating right now, since we're past the whole coaching hirings and we're in the free agency and draft talk. We got to still think about how this new Ravens coaching staff is going to be able to, at least I believe, right? I believe they're going to be able to really usher these guys in nicely, these young guys, that is. But Alex, do you have anything else for Jason before we let him go?
I got one more final thing. We will be in the market for a running back. Think about kind of the type of build we need. Who is the guy we should be looking at here? Probably say early day 3 maybe. Obviously Keaton's gone. You have Rasheen Ali, Justice Hill, who I don't know what's going on with him. He was out at the end of the season last year. And of course you have King Henry. But who's the guy that can really complement these guys and fill up that room?
it's kind of tough, right? Like what kind of receiver or what kind of running back do you want? Like, yeah, that's what it really comes down to, because this is not a good running back class. Neither there most years I'm trying to cut them down, and like last year I had like 20 some guys, and I cut it down to like 18 or something, and it was painful. This year's not like that. If you want your Keaton Mitchell replacement, it would be Damon Claiborne out of Georgia Tech. He's got that 4.3 speed. I don't think his field speed is quite the same as Keaton's. Like I don't feel the 4.3 when I'm watching him, the quickness of it. But he's probably more durable than Keaton. Like he looks more built for the game. Let me see if I can find his measurables real quick. Yeah, Damon Claiborne of Wake Forest, 5'10", 188, ran a 4.37. Speed to the edge, get skinny through the hole. Early down, change of pace back. So he's probably not going to be big enough to pass pro. He's explosive and creative. He's doesn't just run into tackles. He finds ways to get around them. Fearless between the tackles, 100-mile-an-hour all the time style. Really chops and goes in a blink. And you wonder about like his fit for outside zone. Like, does he have the patience to do that? I think that was one of maybe their question. I would have kept Keaton Mitchell 10 times out of 10, but maybe they didn't see him as a fit. If you want a bigger back, there are a bunch of bigger backs in this draft as well. I like Jamari Taylor. I like Nick Singleton out of Penn State. Emmett Johnson's my favorite. Like he's an energy giver. If he slipped to like round 4 or 5, yeah, I think you would have to take him. Like he plays the running back position like a defensive player. It's kind of fun to watch. I think he can hold up, but you want a good time, get yourself some Emmett Johnson highlights and just watch how he's just like, like a lot of offensive players just get up and give the first down signal. Like this dude it's like he's in battle. You know what I mean? It's in battle all the time. Energy giver from a running back, which is kind of different. You know what I mean? Usually they're more cerebral.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. I like that too a lot, actually. And I want to ask you one more thing before we let you go, Jason, or before we wrap up this episode of the show. Be sure, guys, again, like the video, subscribe if you are new. We appreciate all of you guys for coming through this episode 391, the Purple Rain podcast. Also, be sure to follow our guy, Jason, our special guest today, at Huddle It Up Films. It's linked on YouTube and on Twitter, wherever you may be watching. Now, I know this has basically nothing to do with Ravens. However, I want to know your assessment on the quarterbacks in this year's draft, and which quarterback do you think coming out this year is going to be the one who kind of surprises everybody? You know, it's always like that one standout guy who's like, oh, you didn't expect him. Like, he wasn't drafted top 10 or anything like that, but you know, he actually is proving to be NFL ready early in the draft.
Yeah, no opinion, none. Didn't watch them. I watched like 220. No? Yeah, I watched like 220 some guys. Like, it's just too much.
You got him listed here. You got him listed here as like,
those were just kind of like a chalk list. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Mendoza. I've seen Mendoza enough, and Ty Simpson enough to know that both of those guys have got a good chance at being a franchise quarterback. Drew Allard, Beck, Nussmeier, they're kind of like the next. The one that people keep trying to get me to watch is Cole Payton. I think he's out of North Dakota State. People are like, I would draft him in the 5th round. I would draft him in the 6th round. Taylor Green, I believe, is his name, from Arkansas. He is your Justin Fields guy.
Fast.
Like, you can't give him, like, Lamar could throw coming out of college. You can't give him, from what I've seen, that. But like, if you want a detailed breakout analysis of it, I can't give it to you. I've seen them all play. I've seen, you know what I mean. But I'm not studying them like I'm studying the other players.
Sure. No, I get it. Ones that I've seen, I really do like Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson is going to be, one of those guys who proves that he's NFL ready earlier than later. And I also think Clint Klubnik as well. I went back, watched some of his tape in college, but I was looking at his, him at the combine next to all these other quarterbacks. And I really like how the ball comes out of his hand, a lot of velocity and then a lot of accuracy, especially on the deep ball as well. So Clint Klubnik's one that I'm going to watch out for, but I just want to throw that at you. I know I probably asked you the same thing last year, to be honest with you, and you probably gave me the same exact freaking answer because I know you break down all these guys. You got to dig to get a lot of these guys taped too. Let's talk about that. You have to dig pretty deep to get all of these players taped. So I apologize, right? I apologize for asking you about something as pointless as quarterbacks.
No, I just want to give a shot. Like, when I have to study the quarterbacks again, I'm going to be crying. Like, it takes so much time, guys, like, you want every single piece of information you got. And I mean, just think of like the quarterbacks, how they'll play well over a 5-game stretch and then have some terrible games and stuff like that. Like, it's such a guessing game. I'll want to go back to how they played 2 years ago, how they played 3 years ago. Are they progressing? Like, did they hit some kind of plateau? There's so much going into it. So, yeah, I'll be crying because Lamar Jackson won't be a Raven anymore. But I'll also be crying because I got to watch all that tape, man, and try to figure it out. And be wrong most of the time like the NFL is. You know what I mean? Because nobody really makes it. So hard to make it.
Understood. Well, listen, man. This has been a great episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 391 with our guy, Jason. Again,
I have one more thing.
Clap it up for our guy, Jason, man. Oh, go ahead.
I have one more thing as well. Before we clap it up. It's not about the draft. It's about the Ravens. It's happy trails to Mr. Tylan Wallace. It is. Big sign by the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing but fantastic things to say about him. Stepped up when he had to, made some big plays. I wish him the best. I really do. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's not against the Ravens.
Yeah. Clap it up for Tylan Wallace, y'all. Clap it up for Tylan Wallace, man. He deserves it. Underrated player, if you ask me. Underrated. Caught damn near everything that came his way. You know what I mean? Had a couple of big game plays. That rain game where we went in overtime, I was actually there. I was at the bank that day. It was surreal watching him do that. The bank literally, he blew the roof off the place. Tylan Wallace, I can't thank him enough for what he did. I hope he goes to, Cleveland and Todd Monk and he does his thing. I want nothing but the best for him, even if he's an AFC North opponent and all. But yeah, shout out to him. And shout out to you, Jason. Shout out to you, Jason, so much for coming through this episode of the show. Clap for our guy, Jason. Huddle It Up Films in the house. Shout out to you, man. And also, please, 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 like I said, follow our guy Jason on X and subscribe to him on YouTube as well. I think Alex put the Google Doc link to the big board we're just looking at. I think he
Nice.
put it in the live chat. If you could throw it in there one more time, Alex, just so it's fresh, that'd be great. But yeah, outside of that, guys, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys so much on this episode 391 of PRP. Be sure to like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe as well if you are new. And with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for coming through, and thank you, Purple Rain Podcast viewers, members, all you guys for spending your
Yes.
evening with us,
Donators,
liking,
yeah.
donating, everything. Thank you very much. X viewers, thank you very much for listening on podcast or Spotify. Thank you very much for listening. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy it all. And as always, stay positive and test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been episode 391 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.